Downtown Jamestown was rocked this afternoon as state troopers and Jamestown City Police chased a suspect through a business district in a high-speed pursuit that ended in a standoff behind Gun and Reel Sports. What began as a routine traffic stop for North Dakota Highway Patrol trooper quickly turned into a high-speed pursuit along Interstate 94. JCTV news correspondent Kaleb Hruby has more on the story.
State police routinely stop people every day. Most times they don't run. That wasn't the case along Interstate 94 today, as troopers ended up chasing a fleeing truck off the interstate and through city streets. State Patrol Captain Brian Niemier told JCTV 16 News that when troopers attempted to stop a maroon Ford Bronco for a routine traffic violation, the driver at first stopped, then fled from the scene, heading for U.S. Route 281. Troopers took up the chase, which then moved back onto I-94 before the Bronco left the highway again at Jamestown's exit 258 and drove at high speeds north through the city. Berna Kunze runs a barber shop at 218 First Avenue South and was outside sweeping leaves when she heard the sound of loud engines and sirens.
And the person that was driving had a black sweatshirt on with a hood up. And he had to be doing, I think, 60 miles an hour coming down the street. And then behind them were two unmarked vehicles chasing them, highway patrolmen and our Jamestown.
Jamestown police and deputies from the Stutsman County Sheriff's Office joined in as the suspect turned left onto First Street by Bab's Coffee Shop before being boxed in just south of the railroad crossing on 2nd Avenue. According to police, the suspect tried to escape on foot and ran into the alley behind Gun and Reel Sports, where he was cornered. Officers on the scene said he had a handgun. City, county, and state officers in full tactical gear and carrying heavy weapons patrolled the area, keeping bystanders away from the scene. Captain Niemier said the suspect was holed up and threatening suicide when officers called in a hostage negotiator from the James River Correctional Center. Niemier commands the North Dakota State Patrol for this part of the state, and he explained what happened.
Ended up going westbound on I-94 towards Jamestown. The driver took exit 258, which is the Highway 281 exit. The driver then went south. The suspect went south on Highway 281. Ended up turning around, coming back northbound on Highway 281 to Jamestown. That's when the Jamestown Police Department became involved with the pursuit. And the vehicle ended up eventually down here by Gun and Reel after being pursued through Jamestown. The driver exited the vehicle, went behind the building on Gun and Reel here, into the alley, had a handgun, and was back there threatening suicide.
Finally, after several tense hours, at 1:24 this afternoon, a loud report was heard from the alley behind Gun and Reel Sports. Police officers rushed in. Several minutes later, an officer came out and motioned for an ambulance to approach. Officers brought a man out and put him in a patrol car. It's not clear whether the noise reporters heard was a shot or not, and police aren't saying. For now, police aren't releasing any information on who the suspect is, his condition, or any charges he faces. For JCTV 16 News, I'm Kaleb Hruby in Jamestown.
This morning, local teacher Richard Lacqua was formally charged with 2 Class C felonies. According to the state's attorney, he was charged with 1 count of sexual assault and a count of luring a minor by computer or other electronic means. The decision followed his arrest on Tuesday after a female juvenile alleged she had been sexually assaulted by him. The victim also claimed she received explicit text messages and phone calls from Lacqua. Both Class C felonies have a maximum penalty of 5 years imprisonment and a fine of $10,000. If convicted, Lacqua must also register as a sex offender for a minimum of 15 years. A bail hearing is set for 1:30 p.m. Wednesday at the Stutsman County Courthouse. Officials say the district does not have a policy regarding electronic communication between staff and students, but a committee did meet this month regarding implementing one. In Bismarck today, North Dakota House voted 63-31 this morning to repeal the state law requiring the University of North Dakota to keep the Fighting Sioux nickname. The repeal bill, which would prohibit UND from establishing a new nickname until at least 2015, now goes to Governor Jack Dalrymple for his signature. Repeal of the mandate was approved by the North Dakota Senate Tuesday by a vote of 39-7. There are many things happening on the Jamestown College this week. Last night, an L2 political figure Jasper Schneider gave a brief talk. JCTV news correspondent Kenneth Jahnke caught up with Mr. Schneider after the event to ask him a few questions.
What motivates me to act as a public servant in North Dakota is I care a lot about the state. It really is a fantastic place. You look at what we're going through now as a state, we're really the envy of the country, right? We've got low unemployment, we've got wonderful opportunities, and what we need to do is make sure that the short-term economic success that we're going through isn't just a short-term play, but a long-term one. And the decisions we make now as leaders on all levels really will make huge differences going forward. So it's important that we be smart and strategic about what we do. I think one of the things that drives me on a daily basis are my kids. I want things to be as good for my kids as I had them growing up, if not better. And I think that's just the human spirit, right? We always want to keep progressing as a society. But with that increased production and opportunities also comes potentially a cost. And I think the challenge for us as North Dakotans going forward is that we reach our full potential in energy production, we reach our full potential with agriculture, we reach our full potential in society, but we have to make sure we preserve the one thing that we've always had going for us in North Dakota, and that's our quality of life.
Another happening that took place last night was a talk by Christian speaker and author Rick James. JCTV news correspondent Elizabeth Ryan talked with Mr. James after the event.
The two that are probably more out there in bookstores, the most recent one I wrote is called A Million Ways to Die. And then before that was Jesus Without Religion. And then I'm writing another one right now. If I thought about it, I'd say that there isn't, maybe people are used to certain sermons or things that, I don't know, it can get very complicated. I guess I just try to make it as simple and as engaging as I can.
Tomorrow night is the 6th Annual Character and Leadership Conference, which will feature a keynote address by Roxana Saberi. Here to tell us more about the event is Senior Character and Leadership students Jacob Niemier and Bob Heinzen. I understand that we have a very special guest coming tomorrow this year. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this year for the Character and Leadership Conference, we have Roxana Saberi coming in. She's a Fargo, North Dakota native journalist who spent time in Iran studying the culture there. And in 2009, she was arrested and imprisoned for being a U.S. spy. She is going to get to share her experience with that and telling the truth about who she is. So
okay.
It should be fun.
Could you tell us what to expect this year at the conference?
Sure, yeah. It's going to start at 6 p.m. in the Ryland lobby with a little meet and greet kind of social event going on. Then it's going to move to some breakout sessions. The speakers will be Reverend Terry Anderson, the KFYR Bismarck News Director Monica Hannon, and a communication professor and director of the Student Media Center at Jamestown College, Steve Listapad. After that, at 7:30, the keynote address by Roxana entitled Courage Under Fire will take place.
Okay. And is it going to be public? Where can people get tickets for it?
Yes, it is a public event. You can get tickets for $8 per individual, $12 for a couple at the box office. To do so, you can call 701-252-3467, extension 2435, or email tickets@jc.edu.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you. All right. Once again, if you'd like to get tickets, they are $8 for individuals and $12 for the couples. They can be reserved by calling the Jamestown College box office at 701-252-3467, extension 2435, or by emailing tickets@jc.edu. On Friday, there is a Freedom Sings concert in the Denault Auditorium of the Ryland Fine Arts Center. Performers for Freedom Sings include singer-songwriters Jason White and Joseph Wooden. Mr. Wooden was a singer-songwriter and keyboard performer for the legendary Steve Miller Band for more than 15 years. Well, some say a miracle occurred in Brooklyn, New York today. At 8 a.m., an SUV collided with a school bus, which then crashed into a daycare center and burst into a giant ball of fire. This should have been called the Miracle on Rockaway Parkway. Chantel Register told PXI 11 News about the school bus that burst into flames on her mother's daycare center. Just minutes before the accident, the entire bus of students departed at their school. Also, normally parents of the daycare dropped their kids off at 8:45. The crash happened at 8:20. Both drivers of the SUV and the bus were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. In a look at the sky, an asteroid scaling the size of an aircraft carrier passed within the moon's orbit Tuesday. This has been the closest encounter by an object of that size in more than 30 years. NASA's Near-Earth Object Program says the asteroid posed no threat of a collision. According to scientists and Purdue University, if the asteroid had crashed into Earth, it could have caused a 4,000 megaton blast. If it had fallen into the ocean, the cause would be a 70-foot-high tsunami with 60 miles of the crash site radius. Officials say the next similar encounter is projected for 2028. World powers expressed alarm Wednesday at a critical report documenting Iran's progress toward making a nuclear bomb, with the British Foreign Secretary warning that his nation would take strong measures if the Islamic Republic did not change direction. In its most detailed report to date on the military dimensions of Iran's nuclear program, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, found no evidence that Iran has made a strategic decision to actually build a bomb. However, its nuclear program is more ambitious and structured than previously known, the report said. The agency had serious concerns regarding possible military dimension to Iran's nuclear program. After assessing carefully and critically the extensive information available to it, the agency finds the information to be overall credible. The information indicates that Iran has carried out activities relevant to the development of a nuclear explosive device. In response, Iran still claims denial in the allegations. Well, it has been a little chilly out there lately. Jessica Gulseth is here to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect for our weather. Jessica?
Thanks, Johnny. Well, this afternoon was sunny with bright blue skies and a high of about 41 degrees. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 22 degrees. Tomorrow is Thursday and it'll be very much like today. The sun will be out shining bright as few clouds dance around it. The wind will be blowing just a bit and we'll see a temperature of about 43 degrees. Thursday night will cool down to 29 degrees. There will still be some wind, so it will feel a little cooler. Friday is almost here, and thankfully it will be a warm one. A high in the 50s is expected for us here in Jamestown. It is also Veterans Day, so don't forget to take a moment to thank a soldier. Saturday again, see temperatures near and slightly above the 50-degree mark. But then on Sunday, you can see the temperatures will drop about 10 degrees, seeing highs in the low 40s. Next week, Monday, as of right now, is just another day without snow. That is the weather for today, Jamestown. Now back to news. And to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Jessica. In sports news, Penn State coach Joe Paterno announced Wednesday that he plans to retire at the end of the football season. It is, however, unclear if the university will allow him to coach that long in the wake of a sexual abuse scandal that has implicated top school officials. Despite Paterno's statement Wednesday, his immediate future is still in the hands of the board, which is scheduled to meet Friday. Governor Tom Corbett plans to be in attendance. Well, thank you for tuning in today. I'm Johnny Jerome, and it is always a pleasure connecting the campus with the community.